Excuse me. All right. It's the first I've talking so far today. Although I've been up for almost 3 hours. Give me 1 second. A few things I want to look up. Hey, Sniper. We're going to dive right in just a moment. I'm bringing up my desktop. Hey, Goldie. So I've been asked a few times lately. Forgiveness. I talked about it last night. The why of forgiveness. Why do we do it? We need to get out of the mindset, just like saying things like we need. So let's say it's best served, we are best served, getting out of the mindset that forgiveness is a linear, transactional process that we do, that we extend to others, or even that we extend to ourselves. What it is the deep realization of our connection through the innocence of the mind of God. With that in mind, I've read what forgiveness offers. Forgiveness offers us peace of mind, offers us freedom, liberation. It takes our, hey Stuart, it takes our investment in the outer world and turns it into a living reality of unconditional love and acceptance for what is. The entire process of realization, of awakening, of enlightenment is simply the acceptance of what is within the peace of our heart. As soon as we accept what is in the peace of our heart, there's an alchemical process that happens. Acceptance begets change. Before acceptance, nothing changes. Let's see. Semper says, Eric, what did Buddha say about logos and symbols? It's a good question, Sniper. I don't recall offhand. I'll look into it through the day, and it'll be something we can talk about this afternoon. The Buddha himself was very succinct and to the point. He didn't talk about mythology. He didn't talk about God. He didn't talk about religion. He didn't talk about theology. He talked about, as he said, he teaches suffering. He teaches one thing and one thing only, suffering and how to escape suffering. Hey, easy. So everything else after that message was added on. I always loved the Deer Park sermon? The silent sermon from the Buddha, who sat with a smile on his face and didn't say a single word, extending a flower. That was it. The entirety of the teaching was the extension of a flower, and only one person, I forget his name, got that realization and accepted the flower, and then instantly became enlightened. I love how the Course says that words are but symbols of symbols twice removed, and we get so lost in those symbols. In Zen, they say, it's the, don't confuse the finger pointing at the moon for the moon. They also say in Buddhism, when you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. Because it's a representation. Don't fall in love with a representation. Fall in love with love. What's new, Easy? So this is from the Course in Miracles. Midnight Madness says, I just joined. What are we talking about? We were talking a little bit about Buddhism, but mainly we're talking about forgiveness and the means of forgiveness. Question is, how do we do it? And here's the thing, we don't do it. We are incapable of forgiveness. And by we, I mean the ego. This is lesson 46. And I fully realize that some people might disagree with the wording, which is fine. This is just my take through A Course in Miracles. God is the love in which I forgive. That's how we forgive. We turn it over to God. The ego is, hey, Brian. Good morning, my friend. So that's the entirety of lesson 46. God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive because he has never condemned, and there must be condemnation before forgiveness is necessary. Forgiveness is a great need of this world, but that is because it is a world of illusions. Those who forgive are thus releasing themselves from illusions, while those who withhold forgiveness are blinding themselves or binding themselves to them. As you condemn only yourself, so do you forgive only yourself. Yet although God does not forgive, his love is nonetheless the basis of forgiveness. Fear condemns and love forgives. Forgiveness thus undoes what fear has produced, returning the mind to the awareness of God. For this reason, forgiveness can truly be called salvation. It is the means by which illusions disappear. So lesson 46. Today's exercise requires at least 3 full 5 minutes practice periods. I don't want to get into the details of how to do it. But here it goes on, it says, it does not matter how much you have not forgiven them. You have forgiven them entirely or not at all. Forgiveness isn't done in measures. It's not done in measures. Vamp says, I wouldn't say God condemns. I'd rather say God judges. In A Course in Miracles, in yoga, and every deep mystical tradition, including mystical Christianity, God doesn't even judge. God is incapable of a judgment. If we can say God is unconditional love, how can we enter any condition, including judgment? When we clear our mind, and I'm not, Goldie and I see different on matters such as this. So I'm not debating. As she knows, she doesn't debate with me. We have a complete understanding and an open discussion, which I absolutely love. Simple says, how you feeling today, Stuart? Midnight Madness says, I think everyone needs forgiveness. Agreed, my friend. And I love, again, how it's offered here through A Course in Miracles. God is love in which I forgive. Very simple, very profound practice. Sniper says, I agree with Sniper here. Vamps, only we judge. Brian says, judgment is discernment. And contemplation, non-condemnation. I like the non-condemnation. And I think we could replace that word judgment with discernment. Because discernment itself isn't a judgment. It is just a recognition. And it's a nice way of viewing. When we forgive, people say, but won't this keep happening? If I forgive someone, won't they keep hurting me? And the answer is no, because we have discernment. Forgiveness doesn't wipe away our discernment. We're still wise. We're actually smarter now. We are smarter and at ease through the forgiveness that we offer. Vamp says, we're definitely not debating. However, we always voice our opinion. Absolutely, absolutely. And I value Goldie's opinion. Easy says, if God forgives everything, then he is incapable of judging. Absolutely. Vamp says, Sniper, just a little question. How about the Last Judgment? So, here's thoughts through mystical traditions. The Last Judgment is the last release into God. It's our last effort of letting go. It is not God's last judgment. It is our last judgment that we let go of, and we enter the atonement. We enter salvation. The last judgment is the complete recognition of our oneness, the complete recognition of heaven, the complete recognition of salvation. Hey, A35. It's not late at night. It's early in the morning for me. What are you doing up so late at night? Vamp says, Satan is the one that brings condemnation. And Sniper says, that's Solus Goldie, I believe. Brian says, Satan works for God and was created by him. So, since this is a talk on A Course in Miracles, I'll offer the perspective of A Course in Miracles. Satan is part of the illusion. The illusion was created by us, not by God. It's a misperception of our creative powers. The entirety of the world is an illusion. When we see through the illusion, we realize that we are still and always connected in the mind of God. We are created by God. Vamp says, agree to disagree. Midnight Madness says, he used to say, what's the point in forgiving when they're going to do it again? But now I understand that God forgave us for everything. So it is the right thing to do. Nice thought. I'm going to refer back to the beginning of lesson 46. God does not forgive because he is never condemned. And there must be condemnation before forgiveness is necessary. Forgiveness is a great need of this world, but that is because it is a world of illusions, which ties nicely into a question our friend Easy asked about the Gnostics. The Gnostic belief in the illusion. When we forgive, we are looking past the illusion. Those who forgive, this is from the Course, are thus releasing themselves from the illusion, while those who withhold forgiveness are binding themselves to them. As you condemn only yourself, so you forgive only yourself. Yet although God does not forgive, his love is nevertheless the basis of forgiveness. Brian says it's all in line. Easy says we are all connected to the source, God, and we always will be. Forgiveness is the way we connect through the source by action. Nice, Easy. I like that. Sniper says Vamps, all is good, with a big thumbs up. So, this is also to answer a question from Easy. How do we forgive? I love the title of lesson 46. God is the love in which I forgive. We turn it over to God. It's that phrase, that simple recognition. The ego won't forgive. Ego is part of the illusion, and the illusion is that which keeps us separate from the realization that forgiveness isn't necessary because only God. We could end it with that. Only God. The beginning, the introduction to A Course in Miracles says, only love is real. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. So, if something is not of love, if it's judged, if it's condemned, if it is based in hatred, if it is based in bias, if it is based on anything that does not love, it's an illusion. Only love is real. Nothing unreal exists. How do we see through illusion? We forgive the illusion. We return to reality. Brian says, yes, easy, and fall on your face and pray. Forgive over and over. and over and over and over. Here's the phrase I like: a continuous life of forgiveness. A continuous life of forgiveness. Hey, Ryan. Because people always say, well, how long do we forgive? Well, how long do you have? We are forgiving the illusion. As long as we are in the illusion, we are always offering forgiveness. So God is love in which I forgive. God is the light in which I forgive. And I extend light to someone. It's simple as that. Visualize light coming from my heart to someone else's heart, and simply saying, God is the light in which I forgive. I'll be back later, midnight. Midnight says I have to go before my mom wakes up. But we'll be hopefully be here later. If he's still recording, bless all. Bless you, my friend. How you doing, Ryan? Still coughing, but I'm still feeling better. It's weird. Brian says, one cannot forgive proudly, only the humility. Nice. Only in humility. And humility is the simplicity of letting go of our identification with the ego. Seeing through ego to pure spirit is humility. Easy says, it's pretty wild how if you forgive everything you're capable of, how dramatically different your life will become. Absolutely. Brian says, yes, Yogi. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. I love our conversations, my friend. Brian says, me too. I like how the Hawaiian art of Ho'oponopono presents it. I've been talking more and more about Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono simply means it's the art of forgiveness and reconciliation. And it's the same principle of A Course in Miracles. We turn it all over to divinity. We turn it all over to God. And they do it by 4 phrases that says, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And we're turning all of that over to God. We're simply saying, I'm sorry. And we're not saying, I'm sorry as in I did this to you. We're saying, I recognize that something has happened between us, and I'm turning it over to God. Please forgive me, because God forgives. I love you, because God is love, and thank you, because and so it is, and so it is. And we do that continuously. Anything that comes up in our memory, we forgive, and we connect again to the source. Brian says, say that again, Yogi, the 4 phrases, please. And you can do this in any order. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Whatever order resonates with you. And it is how I learned it. They liken it to a whiteboard. And this is also a lesson in karma. We wake up and we have a whiteboard. All the stuff that we think that we said, that we think we did, all the people we think we hurt, all the actions that we think were condemned are written on that whiteboard. And as we go through the day, we keep writing more and more and more stuff on that whiteboard. Forgiveness wipes it clean. So we say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you, and we're wiping that board. We say, God is a love in which I forgive, and we're wiping that board. We say, I love you, and we're wiping that board. We're saying, please, God, help me forgive. We're saying, Holy Spirit, I can't do it, but you can, and we wipe the board clean. We say, Jesus is the name in which I forgive, and we're wiping that board clean. By the end of the day, maybe it's cleansed. The next day, it's filled up again. So we just keep cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. Meaning, what Brian said, we just continuously forgive. And people are like, well, when's it going to be over? Who cares when it's over? It's over when it's over. It's over when it's completely cleaned and it's not filled up again. This is why St. Catherine of Siena, a great Christian mystic, said every step to heaven is heaven. Every act of forgiveness is forgiveness. Brian says it's a daily task, just like those freaking dishes. Hey, Brian, that's an incredible Zen statement that you just made. There's a saying in Zen, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Before enlightenment, do the damn dishes. After enlightenment, do the damn dishes. Before forgiveness, do the damn dishes. After forgiveness, do the damn dishes. Forgiveness is doing the dishes. Man, Brian, you nailed it. So awesome. Chop, 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 my friend. We're going to enter that into the lexicon of traditional. It's going to be like Jace's poop howdy. One of our traditional greetings is now chop, chop. Chop, chop, my friend. Brian says, yes, yes, yes. Semper says, easy. It sure is hard to forgive what I can't see coming, but I have to. Nice, Sniper. But I have to. Absolutely. Brian says, I got a pile to clean out every day, 3 or 4 times a day, and more and more and more. Absolutely. Easy says, Brian, there's damn dishes. Exactly. Brian says, or Easy says, it was difficult for me to forgive the illusion itself of the fallen world, or the fallen world, but I think I'm there. And it's our job. It's our task at hand. Hey, Miss Flipper, I'm going to use, let me catch up real quick. Ryan says, Yogi, what kind of guy were you in your 20s, early 30s? I was wondering if you've made incremental changes towards becoming balanced, or if you made radical changes. I've made incremental radical changes. Does that make sense? Hey, Susanna. Every change is incremental and every change is radical. I was a drunk in my 30s, my early 30s, my late 20s, from the age of 25 to 31, 32, 33, 34. I was a bit of a wreck. If I were to look at myself from a purely objective level, as if it was someone else, I would say Eric was a very sincere and loving person who was misguided by his own mind, looking for something that he couldn't find in all the wrong places until he didn't, until he woke up, until he was given the gift of sobriety that came in a flash of grace. It was my Saul on the road to Damascus moment. Instant awakening. I did not have to be a drunk anymore. It was that quick. That realization, I did not have to be a drunk anymore, and I wasn't. In that one moment, drinking left my life and never ever came back after a decade. Of course, it involved a police officer and a ticket, a flashing light behind me, but hey, a Damascus moment is a Damascus moment, however we receive it. Drunken fool for years. Me and you, Brian. Hey, I'd love for you to come on the live stream and you and I talk about it sometime. Brian says radical change is fleeting, 1 foot in front of the other. And it's all radical. So, let's see. I forget what I was going to say before. So yeah, it was little things like learning to meditate sincerely in my early 20s. I started fooling around with meditation at a really young age, but it was just play and identity. I'm someone that meditates. facade. In my 20s, it became more and more a sincere effort. In my 30s, I completely embraced it. Same with yoga. I mentioned before, turning away from I went to Catholic school, turned away from Christianity as well as a relationship with Jesus, only to unexpectedly have Jesus re-enter my life. And the relationship just grew deeper and deeper and deeper through the years. And my friend Goldie was I'm always hesitant to say too much because Goldie is a very, she does not, it's the best way of looking at this or saying it. She doesn't take undue credit because she hands all things over to God. She does not take personal credit. She knows her connection to the source working through her. But she was a real catalyst for an ongoing relationship. Sampa says, Miss Flipper, thank you, Susanna. Miss Flipper, may I ask you a question? In your learning of the Kabbalah, what side of the tree of life is female? Nice question. Brian says, everyone wants to know. Everyone wants it now without doing the dishes. Nicely said. Without doing the dishes. Give it to her now. You know the song Willy Wonka? I don't know that. I'm going to look that up. Miss Flipper says, a pillar of severity, so it's called, with Gevra, and Had, Bina, and also Molkad is considered feminine. Nice. Bam says, I have a little topic to pick your ear on. Excuse me, guys. Looking forward to hearing it, Goldie. Sampa says, left to right path, Miss Flipper. Brian says, Rooster's crowing, I have to get the kids. Thanks for hanging out, Brian. Brian says, all love to you, my friend. Rem says, just a different perspective, Eric. Oh, awesome. Brian says, that's awesome. I'm recovering myself, and I'm now 34, trying to build back a respectable identity. I allowed my addiction to basically dismantle my friend network, family closeness, and self-worth. Brian, we have much to discuss, my friend. Brian says, I'm staring at roughly 20 dishes I've been procrastinating on. Y'all are making me go get on with it. You know, when I do my work, when I do my walk, I considered it a cleansing walk. I entered those 4 phrases. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Or, love is a light in which I forgive. God is a light in which I forgive. And I just gently let it act as a cleansing agent as I walk. Whenever I need to. Whatever comes up. I hand it over to God. Hand it over to nature. Hey, Ryan, you'll see that a reoccurring theme here is of forgiveness. The key to recovery, the one-step program, the one step from all the 12 steps, forgiveness. Forgiveness is the great renovation. You could spend a lifetime trying to rebuild a respectable identity, but you don't need to. Step into who you authentically are right now. Embrace it. Be the authentic Ryan. And the Ryan that who you are isn't even truly Ryan. That's just another label. Who you truly are. Absolute love. And does not need to be rebuilt. Just step into that. Step into who you already are. Meditation and breath work were key to me. Into that release and that recognition. So if we could replace the word uh, rebuild with recognition. Rebuild seems like an awful lot of work, but recognition happens instantly. Recognition is the way of Zen. It's the way of yoga. It's the way of Buddhism. It's the way of mysticism. Miss Flipper says that depends from point of view. Looking across from the tree, or from the pot of tree, I'd say the right side. Oh, not the pot. I'd like the pot. Point of view. The pot of the tree. I like that. Miss Flipper is laughing. Easy's laughing. So I'm going to head out in just a minute and take my walk. I keep mentioning how much I really enjoy my 5 a.m. live streams. We could also say, forgiveness is the means in which I set myself free. And then we could equate God being synonymous with freedom. There's no restraint in the mind of God. I always talk about, I wrote an, hey, Pokemon. Pokemon says, good morning, Yogi, good to see you. It's good to see you. We don't normally see you this early. I wrote an essay in my blog called The One-Step Program. How when I quit drinking, I wanted it. I didn't rightly quit. It left me. And I did not want to bind myself to a movement. I didn't want to bind myself to AA. If you need it, accept it, use it, and work with it. But it kept me linked to my identity as an alcoholic, as a drinker. And I truly stepped into a new reality where I wasn't any of that. So I didn't want to tie myself to it. So my one-step program was a realization of it is always only day one. That's it. I only have to be sober today. I don't even have to be sober today. I only have to be sober this hour. I don't even have to be sober for an hour. I only have to be sober for a minute. I don't even have to be sober for a minute. I only have to be sober for a second. And I don't even have to be sober for a second. I only have to be sober now. And it's always only now. It's always only now. Therefore, I'm always sober. Focus says, I misspelled Yogi. It happens. Let's see. Cypher says, Miss Flipper, if you were to tell, you would say booby-trapped. For anyone that used the path to evoke any archangel or demons, it's reversed and inverted. So we're looking at the Kropathic tree. Ryan says, thanks for your perspective, Yogi. Been really struggling lately. Struggling is just a memory of where we were. Think of this, Ryan. Did those years of drunkenness bring you any true happiness? Did it bring any value to your life? Did it add any significant meaning to your relationship with your family, with your loved ones? Sniper says, Miss Flipper, please watch the Israeli Eurovision Song Contests with Madonna. She's doing a Kabbalah ritual. Yeah, she was very much into Kabbalah at one point. Easy says, enjoy your walk, Eric. I look forward to hearing your thoughts about that essay regarding the course. See y'all later. Yep, I got that up, Easy. Swapping the pillows back during the dance performance. Miss Flipper says, thanks for the heads up. All healing. Enochian magic is dark and dangerous, but cannot take a side, as that's the dualistic realm. You are not in using this magic. Excuse me, guys. I was feeling better till I started talking. A couple of people mentioned that it's probably the dry air of night and early morning. All right, so it is almost 5:40. I'm going to head outside and take my walk. Thanks, guys, for hanging out, for joining me. Hey, Ryan, send me an email if you're struggling and you want to connect, or send me a message on Facebook. Anytime you send a message, and I'm awake and available, I'll reach right back out. All I can offer is friendship. And sometimes friendship is enough to get us through a struggling moment, you know? All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to be doing about an 8:15 live stream, but it's just me working out. So if you're not interested in the kettlebells, skip it. But I'll be back again at 1, and we'll talk some more. Ryan says, all right, I'll message you on Facebook. Yogi, thank you so much. You're welcome, Ryan. Anytime, my friend. All right, guys. I will see everyone later today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Miss Pippa says, like I wrote, depends on point of view. Absolutely. Miss Pippa has inspired me to take out some of my books on Kabbalah that I haven't looked at in quite some time. They've been updated on my list that I will get to. Probably not until 2025. I'm going to end with this. I love the concept of, this is offered by the Bergs in their interpretation of the Zohar, the 99% of reality. You have the 99% and the 1%. We're living in the 1%, and yet the 99% of absolute love of God is right here. Our role, through the practice of forgiveness, through the practice of kindness, through the practice of reducing judgment, is to keep bringing that 99% reality into this 1% reality. Miss Pippa says, I'm familiar with the Bergs. Let me know. Send me your thoughts on their work. I know there was some controversy. Some people thought that a lot of the teachings that they presented should not have been offered to the masses. Runner Boy says they got 99 problems and you ain't one. Well, I appreciate not being one of your problems. All right, guys. Miss Pippa says street runner. All right, I'm out for my walk. Thanks. Top of the stack. Absolutely. All right, guys. I'm going to see everyone later. Signing off. Take care, my friends. You too, Ryan.